Welcome to Metal Wani and Metal Nation Radio. With us today, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Karl Sanders of Nile. How are you doing, sir?
Doing great, Owais. It's great to talk with you again.
Awesome. Now, what should not be unearthed will be out next month. Now, I know, we had a chat last time and you said that death metal is your life. You live it, you breathe it, and I, as a fan, can sense it on the new album. How excited are you for this new release?
I'm really happy to be able to share these songs and this record with our fans. I think this time, we really wanted to give our fans, songs that they would love and embrace. This is a record made for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's, I think, the last record, kind of suffered a little bit. We were very much trying to be as technical and surgical, clean, and make a super clean record. And I think afterwards, I started feeling like, you know what? Someone needs to give a fuck about our Nile fans, because that's why we're here. That's what we should be thinking about when we write songs.
Right.
So next record is going to be a record straight for the fucking fans. Fuck yes.
Oh, awesome. And you guys deliver it. I mean, when I listen to it, it's like a crushing slab of death metal with those tenacious grooves. I mean, it's bound to make us, fans as your perpetual slave. I mean, intense, brutal, flawless. That's exactly how death metal should sound like.
I totally agree.
Cool. Now, regarding the artwork, it's a really in-depth analysis. I was trying to figure out what's happening. So I kind of feel that it's more like a pyramid which is kind of surrounded by maggots and has some sort of a horror, unfathomable horror beneath it to escape.
Yes.
I mean, it looks like the door is kind of engraved with the Book of the Dead, those, hieroglyphs from there, and kind of, protects something which is inside, something which is hidden inside. What exactly, is the artwork trying to convey?
I think you just said it perfectly. It's kind of like a gateway that you're going to open, and you're going to find something hideously unfathomable inside. Something which should be better left alone.
Okay.
Which is kind of a metaphor, for the songs on the record. To some degree, once you open these songs, you will, perversely fall in love with these songs. It's, something that might be better off if you just never opened it up.
Right. So is it like a concept album from your imagination, or it's something which freely, flows based on individual tracks?
I think it's the second one. It's definitely not a concept album like, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, when we think of a concept record. I think this is more, this is a collection of metal songs that are meant to be enjoyed at face value.
Cool. That sounds really good. And the call to destruction, the moment I was listening to the first track, it was pretty much clear to me that the focus is more on those razor sharp riffs and also the grooves and the hooks, and your vocals on top of it, you're literally screaming your throat off to unleash hell. I mean, what was your preparation as a main songwriter of this band to enter the studio and write this material, keeping in mind the legacy of Nile?
Well, that's actually, I think, kind of a complex question, because I am aware of the legacy of Nile. I'm definitely a person that, since we are doing, it's still death metal and it's still Nile. I mean, to try and work within that framework, yet to come up with things that are going to be new and interesting to listen to, I think that's a great challenge. So many bands just repeat themselves over and over and over and over.
True.
And I understand how it happens. I mean, I play in a band. But I think, I definitely care about, trying to do things a little bit differently each time, to hopefully, find avenues to explore new paths within the framework of what we do. I certainly don't want to betray our identity or change Nile into something else. I mean, I care about that. But I also don't want to make the same album, a bunch of times.
Cool, because it's pretty much clear to me that you guys have shed that progressive element, that I kind of witnessed in like let's say the At the Gates of Setu or even Ifalik as well. I mean, it kind of gives a more heavier sounding tone on this
Right.
album. So was that intentional?
Absolutely intentional. I think the framework of the band, and our way of thinking, is kind of anti-technical right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sethu kind of suffered, a lot from, feeling we had to prove that we could be super clean and very technical and musicianship oriented. We wanted to prove that we could do this and do that, and
Mm-hmm.
after the album was done and I had a little bit of time to separate myself from it, be a little bit objective, I started going, wait a minute, who the fuck gives a fuck?
Right.
Everybody knows we can fucking play.
Mm-hmm.
What do we got to prove? This is stupid. We should be thinking more about the listener. We should be
Right.
thinking about our fans, because that's why the fuck we're here.
Absolutely right. Now, you and Dallas, I mean, you guys are like the guitar brothers. I mean, I kind of feel the same when I listen to, let's say, Jeff Hanneman and Kerry King. So there's a sort of that mutual understanding in terms of when you sit and write these sick riffs. So any different, different things you tried on this album as compared to what you have done before?
Well, I think we had different riffs this time. That definitely helps.
Mm-hmm.
But there was, I think, similar to what I said a few minutes ago, there's a very anti-technical approach.
Mm-hmm.
When I was writing these songs, I said to myself, I don't care if the riff's impossible or if the riff is simple and catchy.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is, does it have feeling? Is it heavy? Does it emotionally move me?
Right.
That's what fucking matters.
Absolutely.
And that was very liberating. I shed the chains of feeling like I had something to fucking prove,
Mm-hmm.
and just, played songs that I liked and that I knew other people were going to enjoy as well too.
Yeah, that sounds really good. And correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I kind of felt that the guitars on this album were slightly louder as compared to the drums, and sometimes a little overpowered in the mix. But it kind of felt, it favors the band as it amplifies, let's say, the heaviness of the album.
Well, I think Neil Kernan would agree with that. George said something similar the other day. He was like, I can't hear my fucking drums. Um, you know, the guitars are louder this time. I think Neil was going for a heavier sound.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. I think, the last couple of records we had, the drums were pretty hot in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it's kind of the other way around. The guitars are, huge and crushing.
But it didn't matter to me because I could clearly understand what's happening. I mean, as long as you're able to visualize what each individual is doing, I think that's what a fan wants, isn't it?
I think there's a balance. You put on the record, you should be able to hear everything.
True.
You can hear the vocals, you can hear the guitar, you can hear the bass, you can hear the drums, you can hear every bit of it. And I think that was what Neil's point was, that he was looking for a balance of things.
Mm-hmm.
With keeping in mind the goal of a really heavy sound.
Right. Now, tracks like In the Name of Amun or even the title track. Now, this is something which I found a little, different from the previous Nile songs I've heard. There's more like a moody and a sort of this creepy sounding guitar scales over your trademark aggressive bass. So is it something that I'm kind of imagining a lot, or do you guys actually plan to, let's be a little more diverse and let's say explore the musical spectrum?
Well, let's hope so. I like the idea of exploring the musical spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy who wants to do something a little bit new, if possible. I don't want to do the same things over and over again. So exploring some new territory, that sounds like fun to me.
Cool. Now, what about Kollias? I mean, he's a beast. Everybody knows it. But when you and Dallas to write these riffs? I'm sure, I mean, you being the main songwriter know that what's George gonna do on top of that. But do you kind of guide him? What sort of drum lines do you want? Or it's something which he comes up on his own and, you don't change it at all?
Well, different songs usually work different ways. There are times when it becomes a matter of great debate. What are the drums going to do? And sometimes George has his own ideas, and sometimes Dallas and I have different ideas. But I think that's part of being in a band. Hopefully that you can work together. With everybody having some input to come up with something worth listening to.
Awesome. And I came across one interview where George said there's one song which was like extremely difficult to play. I'm not able to recall which song is it, but you might be having some idea when George said like, Carl, this song is probably the most insane song I've, recorded so far.
Yeah, well, he's talking about the title track, What Should Not Be Unearthed.
Ah, cool. It's insane. What can I say? It's insane.
Right.
So what about the tours? I mean, you guys are heading to Europe, I think, in the month of August and September, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And we're very, very lucky to have Suffocation joining us on this tour. Man, this is going to be such a killer metal tour. I think it'll be one that people will remember for a very long time.
Absolutely. Two amazing death metal bands. And what are the plans? I mean, is it going to, then you guys come back to States and maybe head to Australia or what is the plan ahead?
Actually, that is the plan. We're doing Australia after we do Europe. Then we've got America. Then we've got Japan and South America in 2016. And probably we will try to work in after Australia, Beijing, Hong Kong, Bangkok, and gosh, there was one more, but I can't remember what it is at the moment.
Yeah, you guys are heading to Shanghai anywhere?
I think Shanghai was on the list. It might be that. These dates, they fluctuate all the time. They tell us one thing, and then sometimes we end up doing something else. So it's, until it gets actually, somebody sends us a friggin' deposit so we can actually buy plane tickets. I don't like to talk about it because often it falls through.
Yeah, I've suffered it as well. Like we already discussed on Facebook about you guys coming to India. So I'm really hopeful that at least now you get to come.
Well, we will cross our fingers and see what happens. I know it's something that the band really wants to do. So it's a matter of, finding the right offer. And, last time it was a visa issue that prevented us. We applied eight freaking fucking times for our visa. It was a very, very frustrating process.
I just hope it somehow works out. And obviously I'll be getting some updates here and now. So if not this year, at least maybe 2016.
There you go, my friend. I hope so.
Awesome. Carl, any plans of, doing something from your solo side? I mean, I'm sure there are fans who actually anticipating, a follow-up album. So do you have anything in mind related to that?
I just got reminded by the interview I did just before you that last time he talked to me, that when he asked me about doing another Karl Sanders side project, then I said, well, as soon as I get some time free from Nile, I'd love to work on it. I even have some ideas for it. And when he reminded me of that, I remember, wow, it's been 3 years and I haven't worked on that solo project that I've desperately been wanting to do. So, God's willing, I'd like to work on it, this year, if I can.
Yeah, you would have to spare some time out of your touring and then, back home, take some rest.
Well, Nile takes a lot of time. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people never see.
Right.
That has to get done, and somebody's got to fucking do it. So.
Absolutely right. Now, Carl, before I conclude, how about you define what should not be unearthed in just one sentence?
Yeah. I'm tempted to say cell phones. We should have never unearthed cell phones. Because I remember that we had talked about cell phones in the last interview we did, and
Yeah.
then, much to our horror, a bunch of websites
Yeah.
picked up on your article, and like just out of an incredible, great article that you put together, they picked out this one little friggin' sentence and made that their headline and turned it into a complete ridiculous issue. So I
It became
think,
too huge.
yeah, it was just insane. I took a lot of grief for that one. But yeah, what should not be unearthed? Cell phones. I think cell phones are the demise of humanity.
Definitely. It sucks, isn't it? But then again, if you don't have cell phones, we cannot communicate. I mean, you're right there. If Skype was not there, probably you would be doing these interviews via phone.
You're right, my friend. You're right. But I gotta add though
Yeah,
that the human race has survived for several million years without cell phones.
true.
How did they do it? Oh my God. They didn't have cell phones. They didn't have a fucking internet. They didn't have McDonald's. How the fuck did they do it? Oh wait, I don't fucking know. I guess they must be some kind of crazy alien species. I don't fucking know.
Survival of the fittest. Awesome, Carl. Always an honor having a chat with you. All I can do is to wait for you to come over here. Probably I might, catch you guys in Europe by, the next few months. So if possible, probably we can meet up there.
I'd love that, man. That would be so much fun. You're a motherfucking great guy, and I love hanging out and talking with you. We got to drink a beer together.
Absolutely, Carl. Thank you very much once again. Now, I'll